Welcome back to Nature Talks with Miss Wendy. It's mid-October. The temperatures are getting colder. There's less daylight during the day. And it's telling us that autumn is ending and winter is around the corner. Now, when we get cold, we have the option of putting on hats and mittens and warm coats, or we can go into our cozy homes and turn on the heat. And that keeps us warm and snug. But what do animals do, wild animals do, that live outdoors? They can't put on their hats and mittens and gloves and coats, and they don't have homes that they can go into and crank on the heat. So today we're going to look at some of the ways, the strategies that animals use to survive in the winter. Join us now and learn about some of the amazing things that animals can do. How do wild animals survive in winter, and how do they know when? Well, the days start getting colder and there's less daylight out. It's kind of like a signal for them. There's three main strategies: adaptation, hibernation, and migration. In adaptation, they either change their behavior or their appearance. Mammals grow thicker fur coats, birds grow thicker feathers. Animals will eat a lot to build fat, and some animals will store their food. We call that caching their food. Another way is that animals will change their appearance or their color. The snowshoe hare goes from this warm brown color in the summertime to bright white in the winter. It's one way that they can't be seen when there's less leaves and foliage to hide them. It keeps them safe. A second strategy for survival is migration. When the weather gets colder, migrating animals fly, walk, or swim to a warmer place where they can find food. Would you like to go somewhere hot for the winter? That's what migrating animals do. And some of the trips they take are amazing. Look at the Arctic tern. The world's longest migration is made by the Arctic tern. They fly 44,000 miles from the Arctic to the Antarctic and back. The bar-tailed godwit can fly from New Zealand all the way to northern China. A huge distance, but what's even more surprising, he does it without even stopping. No airplanes, just the flight of their own wings. Little tiny aphids, little cornleaf aphids, less than an inch long. They travel 620 miles from Texas all the way to Illinois. Just little tiny bugs flying all the way by themselves in search of new plant growth. One of the most amazing migrators is the monarch butterfly. Little fragile wings, but flies across the great expanse of our country, going from one side, from the top to the other, from the top to the bottom. They are incredible flyers. And what's interesting is that the North American monarch butterflies, they go to California and Mexico each year up to 3,000 miles. Arctic caribou migrate about 600 miles from the boreal forest to the tundra and back in the northern parts of our hemisphere. They travel in large herds looking for food and trying to find safe places for their family. Can you imagine traveling every season? But keep in mind, walking takes more energy than flying or swimming. The world record is held by the great gray whale, 14,000 miles in 172 days. The last strategy is hibernation. Hibernation is like a very long, deep sleep. Animals snuggle down, hidden away in a den or burrow. Their body temperature and heart rate slow down, which helps them to save energy. True hibernators don't wake up all winter long. And who are they?
reptiles, amphibians, insects, mammals, snakes, lizards, frogs, toads, salamanders, some insects like ladybugs, and the only mammals are little brown bats, woodchucks, and the jumping mice. While some animals are deep hibernators, other ones are light hibernators, or they go into a state of torpor or dormancy. They might wake up during the day, or they might wake up every few weeks or in a couple months, but they don't sleep as deeply. They wake up, they might eat a little bit, move around, and then they go back to sleep. Let's take a look and see how bears hibernate. How do bears hibernate? Once the days begin to shorten and grow colder and food becomes scarcer, animals like the black bear begin to hibernate. This bear's been on a feeding frenzy all summer long, sometimes consuming 20,000 calories a day. Thanks to his binging, he's packed on about 5 inches of fat. Now that it's cold, our bear is ready to hunker down in that cave. He will stay dormant for 4 to 7 months without eating, drinking, or anything else. Normally, a bear's heart beats 40 times a minute when it sleeps, but during hibernation, the heart slows to 8 beats a minute, while the bear's body temperature drops 9 degrees Fahrenheit. That's why our bear doesn't need as much energy to stay alive, and it can exist by burning those extra 5 inches of fat. Now, when the fat burns, carbon dioxide and water are left behind, and this water is enough to sustain its blood and body tissues for months. Shh, this bear may be hibernating, but he's not asleep. Look, his eyes are open. He's completely alert and aware what's going on. Let's get out of here. Have you ever wondered where insects go during the winter or what they do? There are millions of different species of insects, and most try to avoid the cold, but in different ways. Some insects like bumblebees, hornets, and houseflies avoid the winter by, passing away, leaving eggs and larvae behind to start a new life cycle in spring. Other bugs take a different approach to surviving the winter. Some beetles dig deep into the earth to hide from snow, sometimes as much as 6 feet below the surface. Butterflies hide in logs or under rocks. They're not as protected, so they internally produce a chemical called glycerol. This chemical is similar to antifreeze. What antifreeze does for a car, glycerol does for a bug. Honeybees and ants just lower their metabolism and stay inside their hives, alive in action, just in slow motion. But the most unusual way for an insect to escape the cold is to head south. That's what the monarch butterfly does. In fact, the monarch has been known to fly all the way from northern New York to sunny Mexico to stay warm. So this summer, think about what insects went through last winter, and maybe they won't bug you so much.
Thanks so much for joining us today and learning about how animals, wild animals, the strategies that they use to survive in the winter time. It's incredible when you think about the miles that the tern flies, or the fact that the bear sleeps for so many months without eating or moving. But once again, it's the wonders of the natural world. So enjoy your time outdoors and keep exploring all the things that happen in our incredible natural world. Thank you.